Hello friends. I have been waiting to share with you this information, but I have been, I went through COVID and then I had a subsequent cold and literally haven't been well since November, but am well now. But when I had COVID, I read like crazy, just read like crazy. So this is my COVID reading list because I really enjoyed all the books that I read and I wanted to let you know about them. Here we go. Here is the stack of books, actually in the order in which I read them. So the first is Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by James McBride, The Romantic by William Boyd, The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson, Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid, The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose, Romantic Comedy by Curtis Sittenfeld, So Late in the Day by Claire Keegan, and The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I can only spend a few seconds on each of the books, otherwise the video will be 20 minutes long and nobody will want to watch it. So I'm going to be very brief, but give you my review of each of the books. Let's start with the James McBride book, Heaven and Earth Grocery Store. I tried not to buy this book at Barnes & Noble, but the bookseller said it was going to be the Barnes & Noble Book of the Year. So I thought, well, okay, gotta read it. And it was spectacular, really wonderful, about two cultures and their intersection in early America. So an African American community and a Jewish community, and how they supported each other through all of these interesting and dangerous adventures. I really, really loved it. And I'm going to give this book to my friend Gail because I know she'll really love it. Oh, I love this novel. Really. It is a traditional novel in every sense of the word. It has a linear narrative. It doesn't move back in time. It has a singular narrator, and it's an interesting story about a man's life from beginning to end. He has lots of adventures from, Europe to Africa, all kinds of wonderful things, both good and bad. And it's called The Romantic not because it's about a love story, even though he does have a love of his life. It's called The Romantic because it is in the genre of romance. In other words, like Byron and Wordsworth, the literature tradition of romantic literature. And so, oh gosh, I just can't say enough about it. I loved it. Definitely chick lit. Don't recommend if you're not into chick lit. Kind of crazy about two people who turn into wolves. I don't know. I liked it. At first I thought I wasn't going to like this book, The Mystery Guest, because I thought, oh, it's kind of, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of prosaic and yeah, it's a mystery novel. In the end, I loved it. I totally loved it. And you know what? I cried at the end. Cried at the end. It's really just an old-fashioned mystery. It's sort of like in the vein of Murder, She Wrote, to be honest, but the characters are so endearing and the relationships so rich that develop. I loved it. This might seem like chick lit, Daisy Jones and the Six, but it's really not. It's currently an Amazon, or I don't know, it's some show on TV that has been serialized. But if you grew up in the 70s, you are gonna love this. You'll recognize everything, the hippiness of it, the culture, the feel. It was great fun. Plus it has romance and adventure and relationships, and I liked it a lot. Okay, I thought this was gonna be chick lit. And it was about a romance, but it was elevated. And it was about a relationship of two people who meet as they work on something called Saturday. It's not Saturday Night Live, but it's like Saturday Night Live. So it's really about comedy and about how that show impacts their life and how being a comic impacts relationships. And I don't know, I thought it was a lot deeper than a chick lit book, and I really enjoyed it. This book is by an Irish author, Claire Keegan, So Late in the Day, beautifully written. The only reason I don't recommend it is because it's very tiny. It's 3 short stories, and I felt like maybe I should have purchased it online because I read it in probably an hour and a half. So, but it feels very Irish, but it's also very feminist. It's sort of the Irish perspective through a feminist lens. Not everything has a happy ending, but the writing was very beautiful. The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander Dumas. I don't know. Maybe it's an old chestnut. I also loved it. Maybe I'm not that hard to please. It's really long. I mean, how many pages is it? Oh, it's like 700 pages long. But, you know, it's like a Russian novel. There's so many characters and so many different names for all of the characters. It was sort of a challenge to get through it. But I really enjoyed his character and his story arc. There's a lot of other kind of pieces that come into his life. So there's other story arcs that you have to follow. But if you're looking for a good long read to sit down and just kind of enjoy, I recommend it. Let's see, what happens at the end? Oh yeah, the ending's kind of crazy. It's not, it sort of doesn't wear well at the end, but let me tell you something, it's better than Moby Dick. What isn't? So that's my COVID book review. Despite my best efforts of reading only chick lit, I read a lot of really interesting, really worthy literature, and I'm very proud of myself. So I hope you enjoy some of those too.